I look like a religious preacher with this shirt all buttoned up, but it's the only way I'm going to get the microphone to stick here. So yeah, with that being said, a completely separate topic, I want to talk about the statement that 95% of diets eventually fail. This is a statement that I'm very familiar with, and it's something that actually I've propagated out there. You know, it's a statistic that I've liked to use many times in promoting why I feel like I'm best positioned to help people with their diet, because I do so in a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down approach to make sure that their fat loss efforts fully align with their lifestyle. But I got to thinking lately about how that might not be the best statistic for people to have in their minds, because it sets up this false narrative that you're most likely to fail when it comes to your fat loss efforts. And the more I thought about it, I was thinking about this a bit more, because obviously I have my own business and I'm working with other people who have their own businesses mostly. Most of my clients are business owners. And yes, it might be true that most businesses, right? So 80% I think of businesses fail within the first 4 years on average. And that's the business itself failed. But the entrepreneur, did the entrepreneur ever fail if you look at them over the span of their lifetime? I mean, assuming they didn't give up and just say, right, I tried a business once and that failed, so now I'm just back to the working world. I would imagine that that is not the case for the vast majority of entrepreneurs who actually stick it out for a lifetime, who actually just take what didn't work in their first attempt, learned, recognized what did work, which is also very important, patted themselves on the back for that. But then moved on with more knowledge, more experience. And actually experience, I think, is the big driver of future success, right? That it's somewhat internalized in your body. Not necessarily something that you're going to be able to spit out on an exam if someone told you, like, or even asked you in conversation, what do you think went wrong, what didn't? Like, that can be helpful, but it's just that experience of being able to make decisions quicker and knowing what's going to work for you quicker or what's going to align for you quicker. And, you can look across all the different successful entrepreneurs in the world, and what you'll see is that there's such a big difference and such a vast array of different business models, different ways of working, different ways of managing teams that work for different people. You'll have some people who are the Steve Jobs approach, where they're cussing everyone out, they're telling everybody exactly what they want and kind of bending reality in that way. Then you've other people who advocate very much for a more people-first approach, where people are going to work on the things that they like the most. This is basically what aligns for that entrepreneur is most likely going to lead to their success over their lifetime as an entrepreneur. Now, in your situation, when it comes to your body composition goals, your fat loss goals, fitness goals in general, right? If you failed, quote unquote, failed once, don't take that as an indication that, I don't know, calorie tracking doesn't work for you, or online coaching doesn't work for you, or the gym doesn't suit you. I mean, the more you come back to these things and you try again, you go broader in terms of trying more things that you think you might potentially like within the fitness space, different diets, etc. And then you also go deeper. You start to realize that, okay, there's maybe, if I like calorie tracking, there's like hundreds of different ways to actually implement a macro tracked diet into my lifestyle. It's endless, the options that we have in that regard. And even in my own case, I remember I first started trying to lose weight as a kid when I was about, I'd say it probably started when I was about 11, 12 years old, was when I first started really trying, when my mother was doing Weight Watchers and doing aerobics, in the kitchen, doing her Mr. Motivator VHS tapes. He's one of those, dance aerobics kind of instructors, very popular in the UK and Ireland, in that kind of Anglosphere, not so much in the US. There would have been other versions. A guy called something Simmons, I think, was the equivalent there. But anyway, I had been trying for a long time, and I'd say I really didn't crack what actually worked for me. It took about 8 years. It got till I was about 22 when I really cracked what worked for me. When I first signed up with a trainer, and he taught me about how to track macros, how to count calories, etc. And then even with that, I fell off the wagon a little bit. Tried some other diets like keto and paleo and things like that, and kind of lost my way a little bit as I started moving around different parts of the world, exposed to different material. But then eventually I came back to it, and it's the only approach really that's helped me to stop my binge eating disorder, keep my weight stable long term, and then just refining my body composition year after year, trying to build some muscle mass, strip off the fat mass again, right? It's a constant work in progress. And now what I'm getting more into is seeing how I can seamlessly align those results with a lifestyle where if someone was looking from the outside in, they'd never be able to tell that I'm watching what I eat, or that I'm aware of what my calorie tracking is, right? It's being graceful on the surface of the water, but paddling like fuck underneath. It's no one gets to see behind the curtain. I think they call it the third wall or something like that in performance arts. But yeah, what I'm trying to get across here is that if you've failed repeatedly, if you keep coming back and you don't give up, the likelihood that you as a dieter, or you as someone who is a weight loss candidate, or someone who's trying to gain muscle mass, the likelihood that you're going to fail over a lifetime is probably very low. So if you've tried once, get back up on the horse, assess what worked, assess what didn't work, and then give some space. Give some space before you do the next attempt. Sometimes it takes the mind, the body, your intuition, all of these things, your emotions, takes a while for things to settle before you have the next attempt again. But I'm just here to tell you, whatever you do, do not give up. Do not let yourself become a statistic over the course of your lifestyle. You will crack it eventually. The tools that we have for implementation, such as AI, GPTs, whatever, the tech, it's all getting more and more advanced. We have way more access to curated content like I'm producing right now that's going to speak to a certain demographic of person with a certain kind of psychographic. The ability for us to solve our problems is just getting exponentially better. So do not give up. You are by no means a lost cause. You just haven't found the solution that's going to work for you yet. If you'd like to look into a framework that can help you find what's going to work for you and to build it from the bottom up around your lifestyle, whilst also helping you to lose 10 kilos in 12 weeks, then you can check out the Flexible Fat Loss Framework for free in the description of this video. Catch you in the next one.